Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai. Kol Haloyim, Adonai Yahweh, Ba'ashem Shamalak Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, great millstone. Peace, salutations to the hopeful elect. Habayah Shamalak Dawadah. That was King David. And it's a confusion of faces that look like these heathen nations, but identity goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the royal holy chosen sea line. Shalom. And this lesson is going to be about that Israelites shouldn't celebrate Memorial Day. And I'm gonna make that as my title. And I'm gonna show you a couple articles and a couple scriptures of this, of why you shouldn't, celebrate Memorial Day and, go to war. Because clearly you see a lot of our people that they fight in these wars and they don't get the respect that, that they will be promised. Because when you're looked at as a soldier in this country, you somehow get a lot of respect. But, that's not like that. It's not like that for, Israelites that fight in the wars. And it says the overlooked Black History Memorial Day. In this article, it says approximately 620,000 soldiers died and about 2/3 from disease. And it says the work of honoring the dead began right away all over the country. Several American towns claim to be the birthplace of Memorial Day. Let me see. I just want to get the point at the at pretty much like the last paragraph. It pretty much made its point. He said the fact that free slaves Memorial Day tribute is not as well as remembered is emblematic of the struggle that would follow as African Americans fight to be fully recognized for their contributions to American society continues to this day. So yeah, and that right there shows you from that last paragraph of this article, it shows you that our people still fight to be considered as citizens of this country, and it's like, this is the country of your captivity. You're not gonna find peace or rest. You're never ever gonna find. You're never gonna ever find that peace because the Most High put you over here, according to Jeremiah. No, Salakia. According to Deuteronomy 28, He put you in this country because this was your punishment for going off with the Most High. And next article. It says Memorial Day, Americans strains salute to its black veterans. It says African Americans have been fighting in conflicts for the U.S. since Revolutionary War, but despite their sacrifices, the reverence that America usually sets aside for its warriors has not been so forthcoming. I'm just skimming through the article. I don't want to make this video longer than it should. This says Jameson, who works for an organization whose members are predominantly African American, tries to reason with the men, but found herself being harangued by one man on the subject of the veteran needs. I said to him, "Well, sir, for you to tell me what I need as a veteran, have you ever been in a uniform?" The man, who she later discovered to be a white nationalist, admitted he had not, and appeared visibly embarrassed. She tells BBC such encounters have some concern that the current politically and racially charged climate is exacerbating existing problems about how Black Americans are treated both in the military and as veterans. On paper, I made a seamless transition. I got an accommodation in New York through a friend, found a job. 26-year-old Richard Brookshire says about leaving the infantry. But he says over the course of a year, his emotional state slowly deteriorated until he couldn't function, and months of depression led to a suicide attempt. Part of it was coming to terms with the social and racial climate of the country I was coming back to, explains Brookshire, whose African American father served in the military, as did his mother after emigrating to the U.S. from Haiti. I'd been inspired to join and serve under the first black president. I'd even interned for Obama's presidential campaign in Sanford, Florida, in a month after I got back from Afghanistan in 2012. That was where Trayvon Martin was killed. And you see, and Obama's not even a fucking black president. He's not even an Israelite. He's um a Hamite. It says there will be further racially charged tragedies and tensions for Brookshire to contemplate set against the Black Lives Matter movement emerging in response to Martin's death in August 2014. Riots erupted in Ferguson after the fatal shooting of Michael Brown by a police officer. Meanwhile, white supremacists became increasingly bold and public, and culminating with the tragedy of Charlottesville in 2017 when a woman was hit and killed by a car that drove into crowds protesting a white supremacist rally. Brookshire was also unnerved when he discovered how its military career had paralleled that of James Jackson, an Afghanistan veteran and self-proclaimed white supremacist who in 2017 targeted and killed a black homeless man in New York. Let me see. Brookshire's personal experience as a veteran, coupled with what he saw going on in the country, motivated him to co-found the Black Veterans Project. It aims to help preserve the historical legacy of America's 2.5 million black veterans while also advocating against racial inequalities in the military and post-service. The military is the first to say we are a reflection of society. Well, that's good and bad, says Cal Bibby, BVP's other co-founder who left the Marines as a captain after 6 years. In the military, I saw lots of Confederate flag tattoos that made me feel very uncomfortable and the sorts of personalities that you might expect with them. He says that a sense of neglect or assumptions being made about me made him deeply examine my blackness. Although it is unclear where exactly the Memorial Day tradition originated, Bibby notes that one of the earliest commemorations followed the Confederate surrender when the recently freed slaves gathered on May 1st, 1865 to consecrate a burial site for 250 Union soldiers who had died in the fight to grant African Americans their freedom. During the Civil War, more than 180,000 African Americans wore the Union Army blue. So pretty much, those first African Americans, they the ones that started the in May 1st, 1865. They're the ones who started the Memorial Day, what they called Decoration Day at the time. But the white man just whitewashed it. I'll give you an article on that. It says today black Americans account for 70% of America's uh, uh, 1 million, 1,340,000,000, Salakia, 1,340,533 active duty personnel, including those serving in the U.S. Coast Guard, according to the Pew Research Center. Salakia, I'm kind of tired. Let me just scroll down. Let's see. So I just don't want to make this video too long. I'll get out the next article. So yeah, as I was saying, Memorial Day was pretty much founded by blacks. It said erased from history and told the story of a renowned white Yale professor discovered the real roots of America's most hallowed holiday. The date was May 1st, 1865, 1 year after Arlington National Cemetery was founded in Virginia. Another cemetery 532 miles south was becoming part of history, located in Charleston, ST. It was the final resting place of over 200 soldiers of color who died during the Civil War. What happened some 152 years ago would remain buried for over a century until a renowned white Yale University professor discovered that blacks founded what is known to millions of Americans as Memorial Day. Erased from history, it's a story that has stirred up mixed emotions and jolted the pride of white cities, some of which for decades have claimed to be the birthplace of one of the most hallowed holidays. You see, they don't even regard your holidays, these Edomites, and y'all still want to uphold They didn't even regard any of the things that you Israelites have founded, you know. But they want to claim that whatever y'all came up with is theirs. That's what they do. They even did that with y'all culture. So why the fuck you fighting for this Edomites wars? And it says none of these claims included the black narrative, but what was once Union Cemetery is now a sprawling 60-acre park in predominantly white Charleston, which amid lush gardens, ponds, and gazebo and fountain sits at Bronx plaque, acknowledging the park as a site Memorial Day as where thousands decorated the graves of black soldiers who were reburied there after Confederate soldiers interred them in a mass grave in 1865. The soldiers' family held a parade and decorated the graves on May 1st, 1865. Back then, it was an event that was known as Decoration Day. Today, the holiday is known as Memorial Day after Congress passed a law in 1968. The move made Memorial Day an official federal holiday that went into effect in 1971. Today, Memorial Day is considered the unofficial start of summer as beaches and theme parks around the country open for the season. While the holiday has become a time for picnics and backyard barbecues, Memorial Day is still considered as a solemn time to honor fallen war heroes. For decades, cities have spun their narrative of how Memorial Day began. It's a practice that increased after Charleston created its own story while ignoring local news reports of blacks starting a new tradition of honoring dead soldiers. Hmm. The black veterans, the day can be bittersweet as they honor a nation's heroes after experiencing decades of racism and discrimination in America. Despite integration and civil rights gains, many blacks struggle to feel accepted as Americans because their history is often not included or shut out of the national narrative because you're not accepted as people, you know. And there was even a time when they were looked as 3/5 of a human, you know. So you're not considered you these Edomites don't consider you Israelites as as their people. They don't care about y'all, you know. And y'all over here calling yourselves black and Spanish and Native American, like if that's what y'all really are. Y'all are Israelites. So yeah. And it shows you right here like a shorter article of how blacks invented what you call it, Memorial Day. So after discovering that news article, many historians have agreed that after being freed, one of the first things this group of African Americans did was gather to pay tribute to those who died while fighting for freedom. Sadly, you usually don't hear that part of the story. The spirit of the first Decoration Day, the struggle for black liberation, and the fight against racism has unfortunately been whitewashed from the modern Memorial Day. And you fucking stupid ass niggas that still wanna take part of this holiday that really ain't meant for you people. And this is what happened recently during Memorial Day. It's at NY Times on Memorial Day weekend. U.S. military celebrates white supremacism. As America's reeling from coronavirus stay-at-home orders, struggle to celebrate the nation's heroes on Memorial Day, the New York Times published an editorial over weekend that claims the U.S. military celebrates white supremacy. On Sunday, the New York Times editorial board published a piece titled "Why Does the U.S. Military Celebrate White Supremacy?" The editorial made the argument that it's time to rename military bases after American heroes, not racist traitors. Um, Let me see. The New York Times editorial board wrote that the federal government embraced pillars of the white supremacist movement when it named military bases in the South. So the editorial listed Fort Benning, Georgia, as an example, noting that the military base honored Henry Louis Benning, a Confederate general who devoted himself to the premise that African Americans were not really human and could never be trusted with full citizenship. They never viewed y'all as human any damn way, even um, when they had that three-fifths compromise, within, at the time when I was in slavery. But it says the editorial pointed the Benning's now famous speech in 1861, during which he told secession conventioners in Virginia that his native state of Georgia had left the Union for one reason: to prevent the abolition of slavery. The editorial board noted that Benning's statement strongly resembled that of present-day white supremacists and referenced the race war theme put forward by the young racist who murdered 9 African Americans in Charleston 5 years ago. Wow. Bases named for men who sought to destroy the Union in the name of racial injustice are an insult to the ideal servicemen and women are sworn to uphold, an embarrassing artifact of the time when the military itself embraced anti-American values. The editorial um, continued. It is long past time for those bases to be renamed. And one more thing, it says I'll get out another something else. And even at the time when y'all was fighting in war, from the Revolutionary War, you blacks were considered as, which is the Israelites from the Southern Kingdom mainly, y'all were considered as second class citizens. You Jakes in general, but you know, y'all were considered as second class citizens, and y'all are still considered that as to this day. Wait, um, it says on a Memorial Day weekend in Miami Beach, black tourists are the second class citizens. It says for more than a decade, African American tourists have returned to Miami Beach for a Memorial Day weekend, even though it becomes military green zone. Every business from the valet parking stand to hotels gouges those who visit and makes them feel unwelcome. This is the part I wanted to get at. As a Miami Beach senior high alum, I tried to partner with the city 13 years ago to create an atmosphere that was inviting to blacks while also maintaining the peace. I called it Umoja Festival, which featured food and retail tents and a concert stage near the beach on Ocean Drive. The first year, Umoja's lineup included the Isley Brothers, Chaka Khan, Ludacris, and P. Diddy. Wait, oh, Salakia. Wait, hold up, I skipped something. My fault. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Um, Let me see. It should be right here. Yeah, it says, but the city, along with the Miami-Dade County Community Relations Board, hijacked Umoja, did a shitty job, and then stopped doing the festival altogether. Honestly, Miami Beach city officials and business owners see Memorial Day weekend as a cash cow, even though they don't like dealing with the throngs of black visitors. So you see, even though y'all they making money, and even if they're making money off of you, they just hate dealing with the likes of your people, of you Israelites, because they don't deem you as citizens. Then it says the goal seems to be to rob African Americans blind, lock up as many of them as possible, and occasionally use some for police target practice. Remember the killing of Raymond Heresy, in which 12 officers fired more than 100 rounds. 4 others were wounded, and no one was charged. Wow. If Memorial Day weekend were treated like a convention, then coming to town, Miami Beach will get hotels to block off rooms and give visitors discounted rates. The city, the county, the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau and commercial airlines will kick in money to help support the event. Government officials will work with the event promoters to provide comp rooms to celebrity entertainers and comp ballrooms for panel and events. Meanwhile, in cities like New Orleans and Toronto, government officials are rolling out the red carpet for events that cater to a predominantly black clientele. They show African Americans respect more than 100 years ago. After it was founded, Miami Beach still treats blacks as second class citizens. And even if you go over there in New Orleans and Toronto, you're still gonna have oppression because that oppression is never gonna leave you. You Jakes are oppressed all four corners of the earth. No matter where you go, you're still gonna catch oppression. You're never gonna escape that curse that the Most High has placed on our people. So, you know, that's how it is. And it says, this is about like, when you serve in the military and shit, this is how much people that go homeless and the type of problems our people, people will have in general about going to the military. That's why it's not good to fight the war. You know, it says the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs (VA) states that the national homeless veterans are predominantly male, with roughly 9% being female. The majority are single, live in urban areas, and suffer from mental illness, alcohol and/or substance abuse, or co-occurring co-occurring disorders. About 11% of the adult homeless population are veterans. Roughly 45% of all homeless veterans are African American or Hispanic, despite only accounting for 10.4% and 3.4% of the U.S. veteran population, respectively. Homeless veterans are younger on average than the total veteran population. Approximately 9% are between the ages of 18 and 30, and 41% are between the ages of 31 and 50. Conversely, only 5% of all veterans are between the ages of 18 and 30, and less than 23% are between 31 and 50. America's homeless veterans have served in World War II, Korean War, Cold War, Vietnam War, Grenada, Panama, Lebanon, Persian Gulf War, Afghanistan and Iraq, OEF/OIF, and the military's anti-drug conservation efforts in South America. Nearly half of homeless veterans served during the Vietnam era. Two-thirds served our country for at least 3 years, and one-third were stationed in a war zone. About 1.4 million other veterans, meanwhile, are considered at risk of homelessness due to poverty, lack of support networks, and dismal living conditions in overcrowded or substandard housing. And let me see. Yeah, this is the point. It says although flawless counts are impossible to come by, the transient nature of homeless populations presents a major difficulty. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development (HUD) estimates that 40,056 veterans are homeless on any given night. Approximately 12,700 veterans are operating Enduring Freedom (OEF), operating Iraq Freedom (OIF), and operating New Dawn were homeless in 2010. The number of young homeless veterans is increasing, but only constitutes 8.8% of the overall homeless veteran population. So, and there's another part that it pointed out. So the demographics of homeless veterans: 11% of the homeless adult population of veterans, 20% of the male homeless population of veterans, 68% reside in principal cities, 32% reside in suburban/rural areas, 51% of individual homeless veterans have disabilities, 50% have serious mental illness, 70% have substance abuse problems, 57% are white males compared to 38% of non-veterans, 50% are age 51 or older compared to 19% non-veterans. And there's even incarcerated veterans, it says in this list as well. There are an estimated 140,000 veterans held in state and federal prisons. State prisons held 127,500 of these veterans, and federal prisons held 12,500. The veterans were half as likely as other men to be held in prison. Wow. So yeah, I'm pretty much done on that. Um, and it shows you that you know, the problems that a lot of these veterans had suffered because like, America's supposed to have them in like rehabilitation centers, right? They're supposed to fund that for them because they fought for the war, and they're supposed to you know, they claim that they're supposed to have like a living for them, like a good living. They're supposed to be living at least somewhere, like at least an apartment. But it's like America don't live up to anything they say. They give you that false illusion that that you're free and you're not. Um, okay, let me get out some scriptures. I don't know what to say. You will be edified. Micah 2:1 verse 2. Um, um, I'll start at verse 1. It says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is a power in their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house and even a man in his heritage." So they have been these Edomites have been oppressing you Israelites for years, from decades. Ever since they got into rulership, they have been oppressing you people, and you Jakes out there fighting for these Edomites in this wars and stuff. Don't y'all understand that these wars are owned by Rothschilds and Rockefellers? They're funded by the elite bankers. They fund both sides of the war, and you can even look it up. Like if there's memes of Jacob Rothschild that even and Evelyn Rothschild that even said that there's pictures of memes showing up about the truth about them, saying that they funded both sides of the wars. And when you look at their pictures, they look like straight up demons. Like, mm-mm-mm. But it did say they are the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. A lot of brothers say that, so which is true. And it says, Micah 2:10, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted; it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction." And you go into these wars, because I know a few, I know a few people that that went to the military, which is stupid. I know a few people that go there and that do some type of service there and shit like that. But you fighting in the wars is just really just straight up dumb, because this country ain't meant for this. This is not your freedom. And what you call it? Let me get out uh Habakkuk 2 verse 8. Just because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of the men's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, and that he may be delivered from the power of evil. And that's Esau for you. He has spoiled many nations, right? With his war. And with all his warfare, he has spoiled many nations. And um he has shed so much blood, and this whole country is filled by a lot of bloodshed. And it says, like, in Habakkuk 2:12, "Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity." So that's all this white man has been doing. This Esau, he's been conquering lands, and even putting our people in the wars. And it's stupid of our people over here become going into the military, and they still treating you Jakes as second class citizens. You ain't getting that respect. You're not getting that respect. You're not. And Ecclesiasticus 12, this shows you who the devil really is. It's just a so-called white man. It says, "An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood." So no matter how much you Jakes die in the war, you know, he's not gonna be satisfied with your blood. He don't care. he still wants. And here you have it with this World War III. When you partake in World War III, you're basically gonna fight against Yahweh. And Yahweh is he's finna kill you on the spot with his either the ICBM missiles the or the the laser beam from the chariot which is that chariot fire from the UFOs. So yeah, which is that concentrated heated fire that's gonna vaporize you. So, and it says, if adversity come upon thee, though thou shalt find him there first, and though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. He will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance. Yup. And what he's gonna clap his hands at, saying that he got you in his trap, you stupid niggas. Yeah, that's basically how Esau is. Right behind your back. He will act as though he will come with you with this, with war benefits and stuff like that, claiming that you're gonna get benefits with being in the military, But then again, it's like, you know, sometimes, and then when you come out the military, you're gonna end up like being, so fucked up in the head because you witness a lot of people dying and you witness so much abuse and so much your friends being put to death, and that stuff make you go crazy, and you won't get the help that you know the system won't really help you as they promised they would. You know, this white man had been making so much promises for our people, and we never ever got any of the promises. And it says Lamentations 4:17. As for us, our eyes are as yet failed our vain help, and our watching we have watched for a nation that could not save us. Just like I said, they hunt our steps that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Our prosecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. Yup. And who's that talking about? The so-called white man. Yup. And it says the breath of our nostrils, anointed of the Lord, was taken in their pits, of whom we said, under his shadow we shall live among the heathen. Yeah, and that's basically the trap that our people are in this country. They think they have a false illusion of freedom. They're so willing to serve this white man in his military and go into war, and little do they know that the bankers fund the wars. The evil bankers, that they fund both sides of the war, and and most likely they're fighting, and they're fighting over a central bank, basically, to take control of that country's and to take control of that country's resources. That's what they have in war for. But you jakes are too ignorant to realize that, because y'all have your heads deep and far in the white man's ass. That's why y'all believe everything the system tells y'all. And it says in Proverbs 3:31, envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. Yeah. And that's the reason why a lot of you jakes, like, that also shows them why y'all have a lot of self-hate, and why y'all don't really, y'all try to be so much like the so-called white man. I want to be in the military. I want to be finding a way to be so respected by people who really desperately hate you, that have that a perpetual hatred for you. Jeremiah 2:33 says, why trimmest um thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy way. Also in thy skirts it is found the blood of the souls of the poor innocents. I have not found it by secret search, but upon all these. Yet thou sayest, because I am innocent, surely his anger shall turn from me. Behold, I will plead with thee, because thou sayest, I have not sinned. And the Most High, he Let me see. Yeah, he's not really pleased with the ways of the wicked, which is Esau. You know, cause he knows the reason why Esau, that he knows the reason why they have all these wars and stuff like that. And he knows like that no matter how much you people continue in these wars, you're actually helping Esau. Um, you're actually helping Esau a lot, and he's basically funding off of your bloodshed, and he don't care if a damn about y'all. They claim they're gonna help y'all, and they're not gonna help y'all. And Ecclesiastic is 26 and 28. I'll get that out. It says, there be two things that grieve my heart, and the third maketh me angry: a man of war that suffereth poverty, and men of understanding that are not set by, and one that returneth from righteousness to sin. The Lord prepareth such an one for the sword. Yeah. And what you call it? You know, our people over here suffering, poverty, and we're fighting in this white man's war, and it's not really gonna make anything better for our people, because no matter what, our people are still pretty much we're still under this white man's oppression, and they don't regard anything that we do for them, no matter what. Remember Esau, he would never be satisfied with our blood. So you see how much times he killed our people. You see how he killed that guy in Minneapolis, where this Edomite had his knee on his neck. That was reported like about a day ago. Yeah, that shit is crazy. And I'm gonna get this out. Memorial. The adjective. The etymology behind it is memorable, excellent, also remembered, committed to memory. From remembering, and directly from Latin memorialis, of or belonging to memory. From memoria, memory, as preservative of memory serving for commemoration. Fame, renown, reputation, also a commemorative gesture, monument, or rite. In general, something by which the memory of a person, thing, or event is preserved. You think you so let me stop right there. You really think Jakes, blacks, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Latinos, y'all really think that are y'all are Black History Month is highly memorable in this society? Y'all really think that you being in the wars and the military, I really think that all that shit is highly reserved in this military in this society? Hell no. They don't care about y'all. You know, you don't really see Black History Month being highly exalted as it should have been. You don't really see like us getting our rights and stuff like that. And they gave us the shortest month of the year. The only memorial we're ever gonna have is when the Most High delivers the elect out of the nation out of this country, and he destroys this country with thermonuclear fire. That's when that's gonna be a memorial. That's gonna be a true memorial. And we Israelites will definitely celebrate that day that we got delivered out of our captivity, which is America, which is the new Egypt. But right now, y'all shouldn't even be celebrating any holidays, you know. And it says in the article that I brought out, they even whitewash your holiday of Memorial Day, which was actually Decoration Day when it first started. And that was founded by a Yale professor, and they hid that for so long. So there was nothing, you Jakes, y'all got. I don't give a fuck if y'all in Hollywood. I don't give a fuck if you know you're Jay-Z. You know, y'all have no fame or reputation. Just for sticking your head in a white man's ass and doing his rituals and getting up the ass does not give you a reputation. You know, You don't get a reputation by being the white man's faggot boy on his faggot right hand man. You don't get no reputation like that, and all that is just vainglory according to Wisdom of Solomon 14:14, and that shit is coming to a fucking end. That vainglory, and in the kingdom is gonna be considered as everlasting shame for you jakes that are still following under the so-called white man. You know, they're gonna feel stupid. Yeah, that's the lesson I wanted to point out because a lot of you jakes over here trying to fight in the white man's wars, trying to choose the trying to be looked at as a so-called white man. Y'all get y'all beard shaven, y'all get y'all hair shaven, and y'all try to take on that look of the white man, but you still have melanated skin. You still have the spirit of a Jake. No matter what, this devil hates you. In his heart, he hates you, and he shows you that all the time. These devils will always show some form of hatred. They're always going to show you that you're inferior to them and that you're unequal to them, no matter what. They're going to show it to you some way. They're not going to show it to you like some of them are not going to make it as obvious as others, but some of them will show you like you have to like spot it. Like they're going to do something like treat their people better than you, and they're going to find a way to not really disrespect you, but you know as they would in the during segregation. They're gonna show you like they're gonna try to find ways to do it, you know, that may not be that immature. But yeah, that's the lesson I wanted to point out. Hope I made the lesson edifying. I gave all glory, praise, honor to Adonai Yahweh, Hashem Shalom Malaki Yahweh Shah, Hashem Kakadash, double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone, peace, citation to the hopeful elect. Yahweh Hashem Yashar, Shalak Ranyam, Adawam Yam, Wa Abad Ball, Shalom.